All right, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let's see, before we get started, the reset date for the state all-purpose calendar is going to be March 29th.
Hey, you got the hot water? Huh? Not in the bathtub.
Where do we want to start today?
So annex, Your Honor.
Milton, give me 1 second. I really need to do position number 9. And then
Okay,
we'll get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
This is Mr. Mcnair, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
All right, let's see, who's representing Mr. McNair today? It's right at 2 o'clock. Do we have any of the, Ms. Gant, do we know who's representing Mr. McNair?
Supposed to be Ms. Kim.
Ms. Kim is signing on now, Judge.
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Another criminal. All criminals.
Is Ms. Kim with us?
Yeah,
It appears that she's connecting, Your Honor.
She's on, Judge.
Thank you, Ms. Champion. Ms. Kim, are you ready?
Oh, no, not yet, Your Honor. Just give me one
Okay.
second.
All right,
I don't need her no way. She's a lawyer. All lawyers are liars. So I don't need a lawyer because she's
okay, hold on, Mr.
prosecuting
McNair.
lawyer.
Mr. McNair, you have a right to remain silent. Anything
Yes.
you say.
I ain't got no right around. I
I would
don't
like
like
to have
y'all.
a,
Government shut
breakout
down, first
room
of all.
for
You
this
ain't got no
session.
right to be up there doing none of that. You
Please,
doing no
Your
way.
Honor, breakout
Okay,
room.
courtroom
Tell her,
two.
I am your boss, man, and I don't want her to represent me. You know what I'm saying? She's a liar. Okay, I don't need no liars around me. That what lawyers are. That what
May we-
prosecutors are. They are liars. Liars.
All right,
If you're
courtroom two,
operating
please
under
mute.
a system that's already, y'all.
Ms. Kim, I take it that we have a mental health issue?
Yes, yes,
Okay, is that what you're gonna be requesting today?
yes, Your Honor.
All right. Okay, Ms. Falk, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Ms. Tortorello is handling this, but I'm not sure I see her. She's right there.
Go ahead, Ms. Tortorella.
Yes, Your Honor, what position are we on?
We're on position number 9, Warren McNair.
Okay, was this the gentleman that was talking on in the video?
That's the person that we've been discussing thus far.
Okay. Your Honor, the bond recommendation is as follows. For a criminal trespass, we would ask for the bond amount to remain as set. For a $2,000 surety bond, that the conditions be that he do not return to the incident location of the Buckhead MARTA station, 3360 Peachtree Road Northeast in Atlanta, Georgia. That he comply with any criminal trespass warnings that have been imposed on him by MARTA, if any. No weapons, no drugs or alcohol, and no new violations of Georgia law while he's out on bond. Your Honor, on March 13th, 2022, around 10 a.m., a suspect entered by force into a women's public restroom at the Buckhead MARTA station. The suspect was then taken out of the station several times, but he refused to comply with orders and then returned to the incident location. The suspect was identified as Warren McNair and arrested for criminal trespass by Officer M. Fausto of the MARTA Police Department. And all these events did occur in Fulton County, Georgia, Your Honor. Your Honor, the state does not feel that this signature bond is appropriate given the defendant's criminal history. He has 51 cycles and he's also been a convicted felon. He has several burglary convictions, Your Honor, and those are very relevant as it involves an element of breaking and entering with the intent to commit a felony. He's had burglary convictions all the way back from 1983 out of DeKalb County Superior Court. 1984, again, DeKalb County Superior Court. 1987 burglary conviction out of DeKalb County again. A criminal trespass conviction back in 1990 out of DeKalb
Okay.
County State Court.
Thank you, Ms. Tortorella.
Yes,
I
Your
think I understand the issue. Ms. Kim? You're on mute.
I do have to have a breakout room because,
Are you requesting an evaluation, Ms. Kim?
yes, I
Okay.
do, I have to request for that.
Okay,
was-
I am going to order an evaluation.
Thank you, thank
Okay,
you.
so it's gonna be a $2,000 good bond, a mental health evaluation, stay away from the Buckhead, MARTA station. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
He's a bitch.
Yo,
You're a judge, he's a bitch.
ho.
I ain't gonna tell you, I'm telling that
Is that a
motherfucker a bitch.
2,000 bond?
Yeah, $2,000 good bond.
All right.
I don't need no boy, bitch, nigga. Talking about evaluate yourself in the
Please,
two and let
order
go,
two.
bitch. He's a
Thank you.
He
All right,
was-
South Annex, please. Who do we have next?
Position 15, Ms. Sims.
Good afternoon, Ms. Sims. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Sims, you've been charged in case 22 CR 001359F with theft by taking and possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Ms. Roberts, good afternoon. Is there a history?
Good afternoon. 5 cycles. Last arrest was October of 2021 out of Clayton County for criminal trespass. There's no disposition listed, so the case appears to be open. 1 probation violation from 2018, and an underlying charge was a battery from violence, which was from 2017. Yes, 2017. Nothing further to add.
Thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's asking for the theft by taking charge, a $1,000 surety bond. For the possession of marijuana less than an ounce, a $1,000 surety bond. So that will be a total of a $2,000 surety bond. So that the conditions would be: do not return to the incident location of the Waffle House, 300 Marietta Street in Atlanta, Georgia. That the defendant also stay away from all Waffle Houses in Fulton County. No weapons, no drugs, alcohol, and no new violations of Georgia law while out on bond. Your Honor, on March 11th, 2022, at around 2 a.m. at the Waffle House, located at 300 Marietta Street, the defendant, Brianna Sims, was captured on video taking $238 in cash from a register and placing it in her chest pocket. The defendant was arrested, and Officer G. Blue of the Atlanta Police Department found 4.7 grams of marijuana in the defendant's left coat pocket. It's search incident to arrest. And all these events did occur in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, the bond should remain as set, and it should remain a surety bond. She has a possible open criminal trespass case as indicated by pretrial out of Clayton County. She also has violent offenses in her record, which include battery and a violation of probation out of Fulton County back in 2018, and a failure to appear out of Trutland County in 2019, Your Honor. So for this reason, we do feel that the bond should remain as set for $2,000.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Sims is actually recommended by a pretrial to have a signature bond. She lives in 900 Newtown Circle. She has been working at Waffle House for about a year, so she cannot be completely away from the entire Waffle House. I would like to request for Waffle House where she does not have to work. And also, she has finished up to 12th grade. She couldn't get the diploma, but she's almost graduated from high school. And she has one child who is 9 years old, and she really needs to take care of the son as well. And she has parents and 3 siblings here in Georgia. I don't think she's gonna be a flight risk. We would like to request for a signature bond for her. Thank you, Your Honor.
Does she still have a job at Waffle House?
That I do not know yet.
Okay,
It was
so-
right before.
So for the theft by taking, it's $1,000 signature bond through pretrial. For the marijuana, it's a $500 signature bond through pretrial, making it a total of a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial. If Waffle House wants her back and she's still employed there, then she can go back to the Waffle House. If Waffle House has fired her, then she can stay away from Waffle House. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Anything
Thank you,
further
Your
on
Honor.
this, Dennis? All
That's-
right. Does she have a question? South Annex?
So does this mean that I get an SOB?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
May we be excused, Your Honor?
Yes, have a
Thank
good
you.
afternoon. You're
Thank you, bye-bye.
welcome. Who do we have next?
Next, we have position 1, Mr. Ayala.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ayala. I'm Judge Eric Morrow.
Good afternoon, Your Honorable Judge.
Afternoon. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 22 CR 0013661H with driving under the influence of alcohol less safe and improper or erratic lane change. Is there a history? Ms. Roberts,
It's the position number.
position 1.
1. Okay, I am showing 9 cycles out of Georgia, with the last being October of 2021 for possession of marijuana less than an ounce and DUI. There's no disposition listed, so the case appears to be open. Has a 2015 conviction for disorderly conduct, a driving while license suspended or revoked conviction in 2014, a driving without a valid license conviction in 2012, 1 FTA in 2012, a total of 3 probation violations in his history. He has a criminal damage to property. I am looking for the date. Conviction. He also has an entering auto and reckless conduct conviction. So those are actually first offenders and they were completed in 2018. So that's what the underlying charges for the probation violations were. He also has 5 cycles out of California, with the last being in 2008, which all appear to be juvenile history. Nothing further.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Ari.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. In this case, officers responded to Georgia 400 southbound, where they found the defendant inside of his vehicle. The defendant crashed into a guardrail and hit a center median wall. When the officers approached the defendant, he had bloodshot, watery eyes, a strong odor of alcohol coming from his breath, slurred speech, and he was unsteady on his feet. The officer asked the defendant to give a PBT. The defendant did give one, but it wasn't enough of a sample for the machine to read. The defendant then refused implied consent and he was arrested for DUI. Your Honor, as we've heard from pretrial, there is an October 2021 DUI arrest. With that in mind, the state is recommending a $6,000 surety bond. That's $5,000 on the DUI and $1,000 on the improper lane change, with conditions of no driving without a limited permit, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond, and an alcohol and drug evaluation. Nothing further.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Gant.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Mr. Hugo Ayala is 30 years old. He has been in the Atlanta area for 10 years. He is the proud father of 2 children, ages 12 and 11. He completed high school. He is working as a driver for Atlanta Peach Movers. He is due today and is unsure whether or not he has still has employment at this company. He is the sole supporter of his family. He does not have the means to make any bonds. He gave me the names of his sister and his mother, and I was unable to contact anyone to help him with bond. Your Honor, I acknowledge my client's history. However, that October 19th, 2021 case is open. He is presumed innocent. He denies these allegations. He states that he was tired. And I would also bring to the court's attention that he was mostly cooperative with officers. And for these reasons, Your Honor, I am requesting a signature bond. And if Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then the lowest bond possible, as again, he is unable to make any bond whatsoever. Thank you.
So it's going to be a $1,500 good bond for the DUI, a $500 good bond for the improper erratic lane change, a total of a $2,000 good bond. No driving except for to and from work, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Ayala.
You're done. I'll explain it. Next, we have Mr. Parkinson, position 12.
Good afternoon, Mr. Parkinson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Parkinson, you've been charged in case 22 CR 001357A with battery, family violence, simple battery, family violence, and simple battery. Is there a history? Ms. Roberts?
I'm not showing no criminal history. First arrest, recommended.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, can we also hear, I'm sorry to interrupt, but can we also hear the cross defendant, Gifty Olusoga at the same time? Or
We can't hear them at the same time, but I'll make note that there's a cross defendant.
okay.
What position is that?
10, Your Honor.
Okay, so, all right, go ahead, Ms. Tortorello.
Yes, Your Honor. For Mr. Parkinson, the state's recommending for the battery, family violence, a $2,000 surety bond. For the battery, a $1,000 surety bond. For the simple battery, family violence, a $500 surety bond. And for the simple battery, a $500 surety bond, which makes it a total of $4,000 surety bond. The conditions is no contact with the victim and cross defendant, Miss Gifty Olusoga, that's spelled Gifty. The last name is spelled Olus, as in Sam, Oga. That you stay away from 3571 Hampshire Walk in Atlanta. No weapons, no drugs or alcohol, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, in this case, on March 13th, 2022, an officer D. DeSantis of the Atlanta Police Department and other officers responded to a man beating a woman call at Stone Road Southwest and Hampshire Parkway Southwest in Atlanta, Georgia. Upon arrival, there were already 3 officers at the scene that had guns pointed at the black male who was outside of the vehicle. The male suspect complied and was detained and placed behind a patrol vehicle. Officer DeSantis then spoke to the cross defendant, Miss Olusoga, who stated she and her boyfriend, Mr. Parkinson, had been in a physical altercation. Olusoga stated the altercation began at their home when she tapped the defendant with a comb to wake him up, and continued to do so after she was asked by the defendant to stop. The verbal dispute, Your Honor, then continued while they were on their way to get food inside a vehicle. Olusoga said the defendant placed his hands on her and told her to calm down. Then while driving home after getting the food, the defendant struck the cross defendant, Ms. Olusoga, and that is when both parties started an actual physical fight inside the vehicle. After some time, the defendant pushed the cross defendant out of the vehicle and locked her out of it. The cross defendant then went to the driver's side of the vehicle and opened the door, in which the defendant fought against, and while doing so, caused the rubber seal of the door to be removed. The officer then observed that the Olusoga had bleeding around her nose piercing and several bruises and scratches on her chest. The officer then went to speak to the defendant, who advised that both the defendant's story and the cross defendant's story were a bit similar, Your Honor. But the defendant did say that the cross defendant started yelling at him for being angry with her because she was playing with him. Then he said that the cross defendant went into a tantrum, kicking the floorboards and messing with the steering wheel while he was driving. The defendant denies striking the defendant in the face. Striking the defendant. However, he's saying that the Olusoga did strike him in the face, and he did have injuries to his upper lip, Your Honor, visible injuries to a cut to his upper lip. The officer was unable to determine the primary aggressor, and both parties were in fact arrested, and these events did occur in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, I understand they're eligible for a signature bond. However, these charges are violent. Both of them committed injuries against each other. And to add, Your Honor, this they also pose an ability to intimidate one another while they're out on bond. So for this reason, Your Honor, I do feel like a $4,000 surety bond for each of the defendants is more than appropriate, even though it's their first offense. Nothing further.
Good afternoon, Mr. Benchuda. Is this your client?
Yes, Your Honor. Great afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. You can proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. This is Mr. Parkinson. He's 24 years old, high school graduate, and he's looking into college for IT. Currently, he works at HelloFresh in Coweta County. Him and the co-defendant, there are some allegations, of course, that we disagree with. The one thing that's true is that they are together, they plan to be together, and they plan to stay together. So we would ask for an OR bond and no harmful contact. They both moved up here out of state from Maryland. They both came for work. That address, they're actually supposed to move out of it today, and they were supposed to look into another address that they can move in together. So if they have to stay away from each other, they have no one else but each other, no arrests, no history. And it sounded like, from what the state said, this was just an argument that got a little out of hand, but it sounded like my client was trying to calm it down and I guess restrain his partner. But they do want to stay together. This is a situation I don't believe it'll happen again. Like I said, they're 24, and this has never happened before. So I just chalk it up as a lot of stress with a big move from a different state. All their families back in Maryland, and they both have jobs here. So I'll just ask for an OR bond and no harmful contact bond.
All right, and let's see, is this Ms. Olusoga in courtroom 3?
It should be Mr.
Yes, Judge.
Parkinson.
Okay, thank you. Is that your client, Ms. Kim?
My client is Gifty Olusoga. Yes.
Okay, that's what I was asking. If
Oh,
that's
yes.
and that's who she is. So since we are doing this at the same time, let me go ahead and deal with Ms. Olusoga also. Good afternoon, Ms. Olusoga. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar. You're charged. We're doing this by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Of course.
Is that a yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay, you've been charged in case 22 CR 001354C with battery, family violence, simple battery, family violence, and simple battery. Is she also recommended, Ms. Roberts?
Yes.
Okay. Anything further that you have to say about this, Ms. Tortorello?
Only thing that I would like to emphasize.
Not you, Ms. Kim. Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Ms. Tortorello first. Go ahead, Ms. Tortorello.
Just to point out that the officers, there were already 3 officers on scene with their guns pointed at the defendant. And not to mention, I just want to also add the injuries to both of these parties, the substantial injuries. Both of these defendants were originally charged with battery substantial harm, Your Honor. So I would do ask for a surety bond based on the factual circumstances.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Gifty is 25 years old, and she says that this is completely misunderstanding. None of them actually called the police. It was some neighborhood who was overhearing what was going on, and the description has been very exaggerated, and the neighbors didn't really understand what was going on, actually. So I believe she's a good candidate for a signature bond, Your Honor. That's it.
Okay. All right, so for Mr. Parkinson, it's gonna be $1,000 signature bond on each count, which makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Ms. Olasuga, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. For Ms. Olasuga, it's gonna be $1,000 signature bond on each count, which makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Mr. Parkinson, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. To the both of you, I'm giving you the opportunity to get out of custody. You're gonna have to come back at the appropriate time and answer for these charges. If this happens, allegedly happens again, or if something further goes on, you will not be getting a signature bond next time, and there will be no further contact order put in place. You understand me?
Yes.
Is that a yes for both of you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good luck to both of you.
Thank you.
Anything further on Ms. Olasuga or Mr. Parkinson?
No, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Who do we have next?
Judge, you said the total amount was 4,000, correct?
Yes, 4,000 signature through pretrial.
Thank you.
Your Honor, that concludes my business. May I please be excused?
Yes, have a good afternoon. Be safe.
Thank you, Your Honor.
See, who do we have in courtroom 3?
Judge, I have position number 16, Ms. Smith, please.
Okay, very good. Good afternoon, Ms. Smith. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Smith, you've been charged in case 22 CR 001360C with simple battery, family violence, and simple battery. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
Yes, I'm showing 13 cycles. Last arrest September 26, 2019 for a probation violation out of Cobb County. Appears to be on probation out of Cobb County for aggravated assault. The disposition was June of 2014, 180 days confinement, 9 years, 176 days probation. I'm showing 4 probation violations in the last 10 years, 1 FTA from 2013, a 2013 aggravated battery out of DeKalb County. That was also a 10-year probation sentence, but so she may still be on probation for that case as well out of DeKalb County. It was for 10 years. And nothing further to add, Judge.
Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. The bond recommendation is as follows. For the simple battery family violence, will be a $3,000 surety bond. For the simple battery, will be a $2,000 surety bond, making that a total of $5,000 surety bond. The conditions is no violent contact with the victim, Travion Ferguson. The first name is spelled T-R-A-V as in Victor, E-O-N-N, Ferguson, traditional spelling. No weapons, no drugs or alcohol, and no new violations of Georgia law while she's out on bond. Your Honor, on February 7th, 2022, around 10 p.m., an officer M. Gaither of the Atlanta Police Department was dispatched to 3290 Wilmingham Drive, Southwest in Atlanta, Georgia, to investigate a report of disturbance. Upon arrival, the officer met with the victim, Trevion Ferguson, and observed no visible injuries. The victim pointed to damage to his car and his home, which occurred during a 2-week period. The victim stated that his living girlfriend and mother to his 1-year-old child, defendant Erica Smith, left the incident location drunk. Victim provided the officer with surveillance footage, which showed the defendant strike the victim on the back of his head with an open hand. Officer also observed damage to the garage door and vehicle. Victim stated that the defendant drove the car through the garage door, and these events did occur in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, the state's very concerned. We do ask that you impose a $5,000 surety bond. She's had an aggravated battery conviction out of DeKalb County Superior Court back in 2013, an aggravated assault with 2 counts of cruelty to children in 3rd-degree convictions out of Cobb County Superior Court in 2014. She's had a 26 battery family violence arrest out of Clayton County, 13 cycles total, Your Honor. She poses a risk of reoffending. She's also a flight risk, as you've heard from pretrial services. She has a couple FTAs on her record. And for this reason, Your Honor, we do feel $5,000 surety bond is more than appropriate.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sterling. Is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you can proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Judge, Ms. Smith is a mother. She's 27 years old, mother to 3 young children, one of whom is special needs. The victim in this case, Your Honor, pleaded with the police not to file any charges, insisting that it was a misunderstanding. In fact, subsequent to this event, Ms. Smith and the alleged complaining witness, Mr. Ferguson, were actually married by Judge Johnson subsequent to this incident, and they now are married, living together and raising the 3 children that are in the house. Ms. Smith does work for Amazon Flex, DoorDash, and Instacart, Your Honor, and we would ask, Judge, for a reasonable bond. She does have limited means, Judge. We would ask for a reasonable bond, perhaps a $2,500 good bond. Thank you, Judge.
All right, so have you talked to has anyone spoken with Mr. Ferguson?
I have, Your Honor.
Okay,
Your Honor, I'm sorry,
Yes.
he's on the Zoom right now.
Oh, okay. Mr. Ferguson, if you're not required to speak, but if you would like to speak, I'm happy to hear what you have to say. If you do want to speak, you'll have to unmute yourself and activate your camera for me.
I really don't have much to say, Your Honor. I just, I didn't call the police because of a violent incident. That wasn't that serious. I called because of the property damage, which has been resolved since.
Okay, are you all still living together at the present time?
Yes.
Do you want her to come back home?
Yes.
Are the children in the home with you?
Yes, they are.
This happened back in February. There hasn't been anything that's happened since?
No, Your Honor.
And you're not afraid of her?
No, certainly not.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. I appreciate it. Anything further from counsel?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Tortorello?
Yes, Your Honor. I wanted to add the cycles of domestic violence. Sometimes the victims do retract their statements due to the cycle of domestic violence, even in male victims, Your Honor. And I just wanted to also add that the victim did tell the police officer that before he came to the scene, he had damages that occurred inside his home within a 2-week period's time, Your Honor. So this was just occurring before the police came to the scene. There was surveillance footage that showed the simple battery that occurred against the victim. And again, I do ask a $5,000 surety bond be imposed, and that we are reviewing this as a felony offense for criminal damage to property to be transferred up to Superior Court, Your Honor, given the fact that she ran the car into the garage. Nothing further.
And so it's going to be $1,000 good bond for each charge, making for a total of a $2,000 good bond. No further violent contact with Mr. Ferguson, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right, good luck to you, Ms. Smith.
Thank you.
Anything further from Ms. Smith?
No, Your Honor. May I be excused, Judge?
Yes, have a good afternoon.
You too. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Judge, I'm sorry. I do apologize. How much is the bond again, please?
That's a total of a $2,000 good bond, $1,000 for each count.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Are we done in courtroom 3?
Yes, Judge, we're done. Have a great day.
All right, you do the same. I appreciate it. Who do we have in courtroom 2?
Position 11, Mr. Parker.
Good afternoon, Mr. Parker. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
I agree, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Parker, you've been charged in case 22 CR 001356B with driving under the influence of alcohol, less safe, reckless driving, and improper right turn. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
He only has one prior arrest from 2011 for theft in Indianapolis, Indiana, and that case was dismissed. He's recommended for UJR to pretrial.
Thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. The bond recommendation is as follows. For DUI less safe, we ask that the bond remain as set for a $5,000 surety bond. For the improper turn charge, for that bond to remain as set, which is a $1,000 surety bond. And for reckless driving, Your Honor, a $3,000 surety bond, making that a total of $9,000, a good bond. The conditions is that he do not drive while he's out on bond, no weapons, no drugs or alcohol, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, on March 12, 2022, at around 8:19 p.m., an Officer T. Cheney was stopped at the right-hand turn lane on State Bridge Road in Johns Creek, Georgia, Fulton County. Officer Cheney of the Johns Creek Police Department observed a white Chevy Traverse SUV turn right at the intersection from West Morton Road onto State Bridge Road at an increased rate of speed. The officer heard the vehicle's tires squeal and saw the vehicle make a wide turn over the center line and back into the right lane. The accused had to correct his steering from what appeared to be his rear tires fishtailing towards the left lane. The officer caught up with the vehicle and initiated the traffic stop for improper turn. Upon the officer approaching the vehicle, the driver rolled his window down and the officer could smell an odor of alcoholic beverage emitting from inside the vehicle. The driver became confrontational about providing his driver's license to the officer and did not want to speak to the officer. When the officer commanded for the driver to step out of the vehicle, the driver responded that he did not have to. However, after several more times of advising the driver to step out, the driver did comply. The officer asked the driver if he would submit to field sobriety testing, and the driver refused. The officer read implied consent for the driver over age of 21 years with a request for breath and blood sample. The driver replied, "I plead the fifth." So nothing further for this. Your Honor, as pretrial said, he's a multi-state offender, has one cycle out of Indiana, one cycle here in Georgia. I looked at his driver's history, Your Honor. He was arrested for DUI back in 2001, June 14th of 2001. I do not know the disposition of that, but he does have a history of DUI. And for this reason, Your Honor, we do feel that a surety bond of $9,000 is more than fair for these offenses, Your Honor.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Mr. Parker is 45 years old, and he has been here in Georgia for 28 years. He has his parents and siblings here, and he works at Waffle House as assistant manager for 29 years. And he graduated from high school. Even though he didn't go to college, he has been working to become a manager. And he was actually on the way to work, and he was not drunken at the time. And he just used his rights to plead the Fifth Amendment, to stay silent. He has every right to do so. And instead of refusing to cooperate, it was more likely he was respectfully declined. He has no obligation to take the test. And I'm sure it is all recorded in, body camera, so he can totally testify that part. So we believe that this was misunderstanding, and theft in Indiana was 2011, which was long time ago, and 2001 is even more remote for that DUI test. So we would like to request for signature bond, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, for the DUI, it's going to be $1,000 good bond. For each of the other two charges, it's going to be a $500 good bond, making for a total of a $2,000 good bond. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Parker.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 2, Mr. Brent.
Good afternoon, Mr. Britt. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Britt, you've been charged in case 22 CR 001367J with disorderly conduct, public drunk, and obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
I'm only showing one arrest from 2007 for a malicious injury to property in South Carolina. That was a conviction. He's recommended.
Ms. Sorry.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, officers responded to Hampton Inn at 16785 Old Morris Road. That's in Alpharetta, Georgia. Officers responded because the front desk had been receiving multiple calls regarding a fight on the 4th floor. The defendant's room was on the 4th floor and he was engaged in a fight with another guest. When the police arrived to investigate the matter, they could hear the defendant yelling and cursing. And when one of the officers attempted to speak with the defendant near his hotel room, he slammed the door in the officer's face. The defendant was then detained. Your Honor, as we've heard from pretrial, this defendant does have an arrest, actually a conviction out of South Carolina for malicious injury to property. So he is a multi-state offender. In this case, Your Honor, the state is recommending a $3,000 surety bond. That's $1,000 on each charge with conditions of staying away from the Hampton Inn. Nothing further.
Scant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Corey Brent is 34 years old. He is a South Carolina resident. However, he is in the Atlanta area because of work. He has been working at PCI Global Communications for the past month. He stays at that Hampton Inn while he is in town working. Therefore, we are opposed to any stay away conditions. And if Your Honor is not inclined to grant or to decline to grant a stay away order, we would ask for a one-time law enforcement escort to retrieve his belongings. Mr. Britt completed college. He has a technical certification from Texas A&M. Again, he is gainfully employed at PCI Global Communications. He denies the allegations, Your Honor. He states that he was in his hotel room in the shower. He states that the staff and police entered his room, pulled him out the shower. He merely asked what was going on. He states that any allegations regarding fighting could not have come from his room. And he states that once he said that, the officers then informed him that he would be charged with disorderly conduct. He does not have any recent history. In 2007, Mr. Britt was 17 years old. That is too far for this court to consider. Therefore, I am requesting a signature bond, Your Honor, on Mr. Britt's behalf. As we heard from pretrial, he is recommended. Thank you.
All right, so it's going to be $1,000 signature bond on each charge, making for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Hampton Inn at 16785 Old Morris Road. He can go back to the Hampton Inn on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he may have, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Britt.
And Your Honor, according to my records, there are two charges, one for disorderly conduct and one for obstruction of law enforcement officer. I did not receive an accusation for public drunk, which was in the warrant.
I've got 3 counts on my calendar, Ms. Gant. Is that what you have, Ms. Sari?
Yes, Your Honor, and they've also been filed.
Okay, so he's gotten a signature bond on it, Ms. Gant. If you want to check into it, we can do that as we move forward.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, you're welcome. Who do we have next?
Position 3, Cunningham.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cunningham. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Cunningham, you've been charged in case 22 CR 001362A with obscuring or missing license plate and driving while your license is suspended or revoked. Ms. Sari, are you all not going to request a signature bond on this?
No, Your Honor, I was requesting a surety bond.
All right, go ahead.
Your Honor, in this case, officers were patrolling the area of Glen Street Southwest and Formwalt Street when he noticed a car driven by the defendant on Glen Street with dark black tinted license plate cover over his license plate. The officer conducted a stop. He smelled marijuana, burnt marijuana, while speaking with the defendant. The officer asked the defendant for his license, to which the defendant responded that he had them taken away after a prior arrest. Your Honor, the reason why the state is not recommending a good or a surety, a signature bond in this case is because the defendant does have an FTA for an open case in our courts. I believe it's in Judge Mather's courtroom. It's for a battery family violence that occurred in January of 2021. Your Honor, the defendant also has multiple obstruction charges. So we are concerned with the defendant reoffending as well as coming back to court to answer for the charges. So the state is recommending a $2,000 surety bond on each charge, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Scan.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Darnell Cunningham is 27 years old. He has been in the Atlanta area his entire life. He has significant community ties, including an 8-year-old daughter. He is involved in her life and takes care of her. He graduated high school and he is currently employed at South City Smoke Shop. He disputes the allegations, Your Honor. He was unaware of his driver's license being suspended. These are non-violent offenses. I do acknowledge his background. However, these charges are totally unrelated. He understands the importance of complying with legal process, and I would ask that Your Honor grant a signature bond on Mr. Cunningham's behalf. Thank you.
Battery family violence charge, did he get a signature bond on that? You know, Ms. Roberts?
We can take him through pretrial with a battery family violence.
No, what I'm saying was he had a battery family violence, I understand.
Oh, you were asking me a question.
Right.
Let me see. He received a $5,000 good bond.
And then what you're telling me, Ms. Sari, is that although he received that, he did not show up for court?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Gant, your client has his hand up.
Mr. Cunningham, I would advise that you remain silent, Your Honor. Mr. Cunningham, I would advise that you remain silent until the judge rules on your behalf or in your case.
Was there a warrant put out for him regarding not showing up for that?
Yes, Your Honor. The warrant was put out March 10th, I believe. The court date was the day before, March 9th.
Okay, so does he have another court date to deal with that?
There's an dormant warrant issued, is what I'm seeing.
All right. And what was the date of the allegations of the battery family violence?
That was January of 2021. And I have the case number.
No, that's fine. I'm just trying to see when's he going to deal with that case. Is he going to have to deal with that before he gets out? If there was a warrant, I guess my question is, if there was a warrant issued on the battery family violence and it's still outstanding, that, and he's in violation, that he's not going to be able to get out until he deals with that. Say that again for me? Okay, all right, so for these offenses, it's going to be a $500 signature bond for the obscuring or missing license plates, $1,000 signature bond for the suspended or revoked license, which totals a $1,500 signature bond through the jail. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond, and no driving without a valid license. Good luck to you, Mr. Cunningham.
It's really the total.
The total bond, Judge, is 1,500?
Yes, 500 for the obscured or missing license plate and 1,000 for the suspended license.
Thank you.
Okay.
Position 4, Mr. Dunson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dunson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Dunson, you've been charged in case 22 CR 001355F with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
First arrest recommended.
Ms. Sari?
Your Honor, in this case, the defendant was previously given a verbal trespass on March 4th of this year in the presence of an officer. The incident location is 469 Marietta Street in Atlanta. That's the Salvation Army of Metro Atlanta. The defendant was then caught back on the property and he was arrested 7 days later. The bond in this case is currently set at $500 surety. The state recommends the bond remain as set with conditions of a stay away from the Salvation Army of Metro Atlanta and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Yeah.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Xavier Dunson is 32 years old. He has been in the Atlanta area for 6 years. He does have community ties here, including his family. Your Honor, we are unopposed to the stay away at 469 Marietta Street Northwest. Mr. Dunson completed the 11th grade. He is unemployed and has been so for the past 3 months. However, he is seeking employment. Your Honor, in light of my client's negative history or no prior convictions or arrest, I am requesting a signature bond on his behalf, Your Honor. And as we heard from pretrial, he is recommended.
Does he have a place to live, Ms. Gant?
He does not. However, we provided resources for him to obtain a mailing address, and I can provide that in the chat.
Okay, all right. Courtroom 2, can you unmute, please? Mr. Dunson, I'm going to let you out, but you can't go back to that Salvation Army, okay? You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's going to be a $1,000 signature bond through the jail, stay away from the Salvation Army at 469 Marietta Street, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Mr. Dunson, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. So I'm allowing you to get out of custody. You can come back at a different time and be able to utilize counsel to deal with these charges at that time. Ms. Gant?
Mr. Dunson, you received the signature bond, sir.
You're done, Mr. Dunson. Next, we have position 5, Mr. Ganson. Thank you, Mom.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Gaston. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
I do.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Gaston. You've been charged in case 22 CR 001366E with theft by deception and 3 counts of giving false information to law enforcement. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
40 cycles, 20 out of Georgia, 5 out of Kansas, 15 out of Missouri. Last arrest was February 16, 2022 for theft by shoplifting out of Fulton County. He appears to have an open case out of Fulton County for theft by shoplifting, 19 SC 182-840. Another open case for forgery in the 3rd degree, 21 CP 197003. 2 open cases out of DeKalb County for theft by shoplifting. Appears to be on probation in Baldwin County for possession of a Schedule 1 or 2 controlled substance with intent to distribute. September of 2019, disposition date, 4 years probation. Appears to be on probation out of Fulton County for possession of cocaine, 19 SC 165-675. Disposition was April of 2019, 3 years probation. Had a 2018 stealing conviction out of Missouri, along with the 2001 capital offense conviction out of Missouri.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Roberts. Sorry.
Your Honor, in this case, the defendant entered a Walgreens with a receipt that was not his. He then retrieved items in the store that were on the receipt and then approached the cashier with the products to ask for a refund. The cashier then gave the defendant cash for those items under false impression. Police were then called and the defendant was arrested. During the officer's investigation, the defendant gave 2 different names, John Robert Watson and then Corey Watson, as well as a date of birth, 10/28/78, all which were not accurate. Your Honor, as we've heard from pretrial, this defendant does have multiple theft by shoplifting convictions. I count at least 6 convictions. Multiple out of DeKalb County, 2 out of Fulton County, as well as the forgery from 2021. Your Honor, with his history in mind, this defendant does present a risk of reoffending. The state is recommending a $3,000 surety bond on the theft by deception, $500 on each other charge, false name, both charges, and then the false date of birth, with conditions of staying away from Walgreens, that's 25 Peachtree Street Northwest in Atlanta, an anti-theft course, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Thank you. Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Donzel Gaston is 46 years old. He is a long-term Atlanta resident. However, he does not have any family here. Therefore, he does not have anyone to assist with bond. We are unopposed to the stay away at 25 Peachtree Street. Mr. Gaston obtained a GED. He is unemployed and has been so. He is also disabled. He is a veteran. For that service, he became disabled. He does not have any resources to make bond whatsoever. He disputes the allegations. And while I acknowledge my client's history, he is presumed innocent in those open cases. And I would ask for a signature bond. And if Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then a bond for the lowest amount possible. Thank you.
Okay, so for the theft by deception, it's going to be a $750 good bond. For each of the giving false information, a $250 good bond makes for a total of a $1,500 good bond. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond, and stay away from Walgreens at 25 Peachtree Street. Good luck to you, Mr. Gaston.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 8, Mr. Knowles.
Good afternoon, Mr. Knowles. Judge Eric Morrow. This afternoon. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Knowles, you've been charged in case 22 CR 001365G with disorderly conduct and criminal trespass and damage to property. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
3 cycles. Last arrest was from April 2021 for theft by shoplifting out of Gwinnett. There's no disposition, so the case appears to be open. Nothing further, no convictions. Recommended.
Thank you. Ms. Sorry.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, officers were dispatched to a vandalism call. The defendant was seen by the victim. Her name is Tai, T-A-I, last name Parker. The defendant threw multiple objects from his apartment onto the victim's apartment, causing damage to her vehicle and her balcony. These incidents did take place in where the victim saw them on her Ring camera. The victim in this case and the defendant, they are strangers, but the defendant does present a risk of intimidating the witness as these events did occur at her home. The state is recommending a $1,500 surety bond on each charge with conditions of no further contact with the victim and a stay away from her side of the apartment location.
Well, I'm on the call. I don't live in an apartment. I own a
Okay, hold
townhome.
on, Ms. Parker, hold on, okay?
Okay.
We conduct this court in a orderly
Sorry.
fashion, so I'm happy to let you speak in turn, okay? All right, thank you. I'm sorry, Ms. Sorry. What were you saying?
I wasn't, nothing further, Your Honor. We can change that from apartment to townhome.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Kenneth Knowles is 26 years old. He is a long-term resident of Atlanta. He does not live at 720 Cosmopolitan Drive Northeast. He informs me that his father and uncle both live there. Therefore, we are unopposed to the stay away as it relates to his father and uncle's residence. He has obtained a high school, he graduated from high school. He is currently employed in a family business. He also works Uber. He disputes the allegations, and because he has no prior history or convictions, I am requesting a signature bond on his behalf, Your Honor. Again, he does not know Ms. Ty Parker, so therefore we are unopposed to the no contact order. Thank you.
Okay, now, Ms. Parker, if you will, let's see, unmute yourself and raise your right hand for me. Okay. Can we get Ms. Parker unmuted, please?
Hi, okay.
Okay, do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court would be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, what would you like to tell the court, Ms. Parker?
Yes, so I live at 720 Cosmopolitan Drive, not him. And I don't know if he lives across the street, but there's some apartments, Lindbergh apartments across the street. And last night, the defendant, I heard a bunch of noise outside and it was somebody yelling, and I have it all on my Zoom camera, and it was like 11:20. And so I turned on my cameras and I saw like someone was throwing stuff at my car on the balcony. And so I turned my Ring alarm on, and he was outside yelling profanities at me, calling me all kind of bees and saying all kind of stuff. He threw glass jars at my car. I had one of my cars in my driveway. One was in the garage. He kept throwing stuff. He threw eggs. He threw, it's so much damage. I don't even know this guy. And he was yelling. So I called the police, and I told him I was calling the police. He said he didn't care. So I called 911, and they came fast, like in 5 minutes. And the police was actually out there, and he was on his way over to our property. And he saw the police because he was throwing some more things, and the police kind of ran after him. So some of the residents over there came out, and they said that he lived in apartment 565. So the police went over there, and he saw him in the hallway, and he arrested him, and then he came back to my place and said the guy was foaming at the mouth. He thinks he was on some type of drugs. But I have everything on camera, and he did a lot of damage to my property. He broke glass on my car. He scratched my car up. And I don't even know this guy.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Parker. I appreciate it. Anything further from counsel?
Again, Your Honor, he disputes the allegations. He has no prior criminal history, and we are renewing our request for a signature bond.
Nothing further from the state.
Thank you. So for each count, it's going to be a $1,500 SOB through pretrial, which makes it a total of a $3,000 SOB through pretrial, a one-day anger awareness class, no further contact with Ms. Parker, stay away from the incident location, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right, good luck to you, Ms. Parker and Mr. Knowles.
Thank you.
Your client, you're welcome. Your client has his hand up, Ms. Gant.
Sir, you received a signature bond. You will be released on your own recognizance, and I advise you to remain silent.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not trying to say anything about the case, but I would like to apologize if that's okay.
I advise you to remain silent.
Yes, ma'am.
You'll have a chance to defend against these allegations at a later date.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Position 14, Robinson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Robinson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Robinson, you've been charged in case 22 CR 001358D with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
9 cycles. Last arrest was February 11, 2021 for a probation violation. The underlying charge for that probation was a misdemeanor. I'm not showing what the underlying charge was. He has a 2019 FTA, a 2019 conviction for driving without a valid license, a 2019 driving while license suspended or revoked conviction, 2012 unauthorized discharge of firearms within 50 yards of a public highway conviction, and nothing further to add.
Thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommendation is as follows. It's for the criminal trespass charge. It would be a $2,000 surety bond. The condition is that he have no contact with the victim, Peter Wright, and he's actually on this Zoom call by, I thought I saw him on the Zoom call. To stay away from the residence, which is 1680 Riverside Drive in Roswell, Georgia. No weapons, no drugs or alcohol, and no violations of Georgia law while he's out on bond. Your Honor, on March 13, 2022, at 10:26 a.m., an officer R.C. Curry of the Roswell Police Department responded to a trespass call. The defendant, Perfect Robinson, did knowingly enter and remain on the property of victim Peter Wright at 1680 Riverside Drive. The victim advised that no one currently lives in the residence and that the defendant broke into the home, threw all his belongings at the residence, and threw a party at the residence. Victim advised he had the defendant's truck towed from the property, and these events did occur in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, we do feel that the surety bond is appropriate. He does have a weapon offense, the unauthorized discharge of firearm, and conviction on his record. He has various violations of probations, 2 out of Twiggs County, and one most recently read by pretrial services from out of Trutland County last year, and an FTA, Your Honor. So he is a flight risk out of 2019 out of Trutland County as well. So for this reason, Your Honor, we do feel that a surety bond is a good bond is more than appropriate for the criminal trespass charge.
Okay, so I'm just want to, Ms. Tortorella, he allegedly broke into someone's house, threw a party there, and is charged with criminal trespass.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right.
But I'm sorry, the victim, when I did the accusation, this information was given to the state by the victim afterwards, Your Honor, so we would have to amend.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Robinson is 27 years old, and actually he has his own place, which is 3442 Lansing Court. He was invited by his friend, Mr. Jones Oshana, at 1680 Riverside on that day. Somebody else was hosting a party and he was a guest, so he had a rightful right to be invited and go over there and be there. He had no clue that it was a vacant house. He had no clue it was related to Mr. Peter Wright, who he doesn't even know. So he totally denies the allegation of criminal trespass. And he has been here in Georgia for 27 years. He has a kid who is 5 years old. He has 10 brothers and sisters here. He's not a flight risk at all. And he also works at McLean driver help as a driver helper. And he is going to a truck driving school. So he would like to get out and start his truck driving education. So we request for signature bar, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, so I see Mr. Wright on the line. Mr. Wright, if you would like to address the court, you have the right to do so. You have to do that. Do that now. You'd have to unmute yourself and activate your camera for the court, and I'd have to swear you in.
Yeah, Your Honor, I'm here.
Okay, would you like to address the court?
Sure.
Okay, you'll have to activate your camera for me.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
All right. Can you raise your right hand for me? You swear from the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Thank you. What would you like to tell the court?
Well, it's not my property. I am the executor of an estate for the person whose property that it is. I'm simply representing his heirs in the matter. So I don't know who is responsible for the initiation of the party, but they knew that the person whose house they went into was deceased and that nobody was living there. The house has been empty since December 9th. While we've been waiting to get the final paperwork to finish the estate. But I know that his mom and dad wish to press charges if possible.
All right. Anything further, sir?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mhm.
So it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. And obviously stay away from 1680 Riverside Drive in Roswell.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Roberts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Position 6, Mr. Gresham.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gresham. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Gresham, you've been charged in case 22 CR 001364Y for simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
Cycles, last arrest January 4th, 2021 for possession of cocaine in Peachtree City Police Department. There's no disposition, so it appears to be open. First arrest was in 2013 for driving without a valid license. He has no convictions. He's recommended.
Thank you. Ms. Sari?
Yes, Your Honor. One moment. I'm trying to pull up this case, please.
Okay.
Your Honor, in this case, officers responded to a dispute call at 3901 Campbellton Road, Southwest in Atlanta. They spoke with the victim, Martina, Martina Thomas, who advised that she and her husband got into an argument, and he then pushed her in the face with his hands. The defendant was not on site, but he was later then arrested. I'm just looking up the bond in this one. The state is recommending a $1,500 surety bond with conditions of staying away from the incident location and no contact with the victim. Nothing further.
Have you spoken to Ms. Thomas?
Your Honor, our office has not been able to reach out to her. There was no contact information in the report, so we are still investigating.
Thank you. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. William Gresham is 27 years old. He has been in Atlanta for his entire life. He has family here, including his parents and an uncle. He also has 3 children, a son that he shares with Ms. Martina Thomas, and also 2 additional children. Your Honor, we are opposed to the stay away at 3901 Campbellton Road Southwest. I was able to make contact with Ms. Martina Thomas by telephone. She states that she is at work right now. She wants him to return home. Your Honor, this incident happened back in February of 2017. They have been living together without incident since this allegation. He denies the allegations, and the warrant reads that she threw CDs at him. He denies making any physical contact with her whatsoever. Mr. Gresham is gainfully employed. He works at he packages pallets for Kroger and Walmart. In fact, he is due at work today. I am requesting a signature bond. We did not hear about any convictions whatsoever. Again, we are opposed to the stay away, and we would ask that Your Honor put in place a no violent contact order. Thank you.
Okay, a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger awareness class, no further violent contact with Ms. Thomas, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Gresham.
Position 7, Mr. Kaderisha.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kadash. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 22 CR 00136AE with driving under the influence of alcohol less safe and operating without lights required by law. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
First arrest recommended.
Sorry.
Your Honor, in this case, officers were patrolling an area when they noticed a car driven by the defendant did not have headlights on. The officers then conducted a stop and noticed the defendant's bloodshot, watery eyes and smelled alcohol coming from his breath. The defendant admitted to drinking several beers earlier that day. When the officer asked the defendant to perform fields, he agreed, and the results indicated impairment. The defendant was arrested and read implied consent. He did ultimately agree to give blood, and we are continuing our investigation on this to determine whether this charge should be upgraded to a pro se. Your Honor, the state is recommending, the bond is already set. The state is recommending a $3,000 bond, surety bond for the DUI and $500 on the headlights, as well as an alcohol and drug evaluation, no drugs and alcohol or weapons while on bond, and no driving without limited permit. Nothing further.
Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Robert Kardasha is 26 years old. He has been in the Atlanta area for 8 years. He has family here, including his mother and his brother. He completed high school. He also has a degree in automotive technology. He plans to return to school soon to obtain a bachelor's in logistics. He is gainfully employed at United Parcel Service. He has been in that position for the past 6 years. Your Honor, Mr. Kardasha denies the allegations. He denies making any statements regarding having several beers to the police officers. He states that he does have a history of balance issues. He states that he communicated this to the officers during the field sobriety testing. He states that he was very tired. Your Honor, he has never been arrested before for anything. Therefore, I am requesting a signature bond as he is recommended. I am also opposed to the alcohol drug evaluation and treatment recommendation, and we would ask that he be allowed to drive unless there are restrictions imposed by DDS. Thank you.
So for the DUI, it's $1,000 good bond. For the license, a $500 good bond, making it a total of a $1,500 good bond. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
Next is position 13, Perryman.
Good afternoon, Mr. Perryman. Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 22 CR 001363Y with driving under the influence of alcohol, less safe, reckless driving, possession of an open alcohol container, and impeding the flow of traffic. Is there a history?
Yes, he has 3 cycles. The last arrest was October 16, 2021 for DUI out of Gwinnett County. That case appears to be open. The second arrest was from 2019, also for DUI out of Conyers. That was a conviction July of 2020. And then the very first arrest out of DeKalb County was a DUI arrest that was amended to a reckless driving, which was a conviction January of 2020. And nothing further to add.
Thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's, for his bond, the state's recommending for the DUI less safe, a $5,000 surety bond. For the reckless driving, a $3,000 surety bond. For the open container charge, a $2,000 surety bond. And for the impeding traffic charge, a $1,000 surety bond, which would be a total of $11,000 good bond. The conditions: no driving, no weapons, no drugs or alcohol, and no new violations of Georgia law while out on bond. Your Honor, I just want to point out before I go over the facts, as far as the open DUI case in Gwinnett County, he has an upcoming, it is in fact open. He has an upcoming court date on March 24th, 2022. That will be his arraignment before the Gwinnett County Recorder's Court. He actually bonded out on this charge, Your Honor, on October 29th, 2021, and therefore he is in fact in violation of that bond, Your Honor. On March 12th, 2022, at 4:30 a.m., an Officer B. Welt of the Roswell Police Department observed a white Audi sedan stopped in the wrong lane of travel on Dogwood Road, just south of the intersection of Holcomb Bridge Road in Roswell, Georgia. The officer observed damage to the front part of the vehicle, and the driver was asleep at the wheel. The officer conducted a stop on the vehicle and parked his patrol car in front of the vehicle to assure that if the driver placed his foot off the brake, the driver's vehicle would not run into traffic. The officer knocked on the window of the vehicle several times to get in contact with the driver. Eventually, the driver woke up, and the officer ordered the driver to place his vehicle in park. The driver advised he was in Atlanta and was waiting for someone to come out. The officer asked the driver for his driver's license, at which point the driver actually handed the officer his bank card. The officer asked the driver again to hand over his license, at which point he did. The driver stated several times he was in Atlanta in front of a lounge waiting for someone to come out. The driver's eyes were glassy, and the officer detected an odor of alcoholic beverage coming from the driver. The driver denied drinking any alcohol. The driver refused to take field sobriety evaluations. When the officer ordered the driver to step out of the vehicle, the officer observed the driver was unable to maintain his balance. He swayed and could not walk straight. The officer continued to smell alcoholic beverage coming from the driver's person. The officer arrested the driver for DUI less safe and identified the driver as defendant Darcy Perryman. The defendant was read implied consent and he refused. And all these events did occur in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, if I may point out also, if it were not for that DUI that was reduced to a reckless, this in fact would be a felony offense. It would have been his 4th in 10, Your Honor. Nothing further from the state.
Thank you, Ms. Tortorella. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Perryman is 42 years old, And he has two children, 10 and 12, and he has a parents and siblings here in Georgia. And he has been working for warehouse Uline as operation managers for 17 years. So he's definitely not a flight risk. And he went to Morehouse in Atlanta, Georgia, studying mathematics. So we do understand the past histories. We would like to request for $2,500 good bond, so that way he can take care of his children as a single father. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so for the DUI, it's a $3,000 good bond. For each of the other counts, it's a $1,000 good bond each, making it for a total of a $6,000 good bond. No driving while out on bond, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. He's also going to be referred to the DUI court, and he's going to have to report there within 3 days of release.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Perryman.
Thank you.
All right, we're completed here in courtroom 2, Judge.
All right, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Have a
Good
good one.
afternoon.
Thank
Okay.
you, you too.
Let's see, I have Ms. Middlebrooks in court with me today, and as soon as she is ready, we'll go over the calendar. You have those things for me to sign on. Do it. Okay, I'm ready. All right.
Position number 1 has been reset to the state all-purpose calendar, March 29th, 2022, the $2,000 good bond. Position number 2 will be reset to further notice. There's a $3,000 sign-on bond through the jail. Position number 3 will be reset for further notice. There's a $1,500 sign-on bond through the jail. Position number 4, reset further notice, a $1,000 sign-on bond through the jail. Position number 5 is a $1,500 good bond, reset SAP March 29th. Position number 6 will be reset further notice, a $2,000 sign-on bond through pretrial. Position number 7, reset state all-purpose March 29th, is a $1,500 good bond. Position number 8, reset further notice, a $3,000 sign-on bond through pretrial. Position number 9, reset SAP March 29th, is a $2,000 good bond. Position number 10, reset further notice, is a $4,000 sign-on bond through pretrial. Position number 11, reset state all-purpose to 329, there's a $2,000 good bond. Position number 12, reset further notice, is a $4,000 sign-on bond through pretrial. Position 13, reset SAP March 29th, a $6,000 good bond. Position 14, reset further notice, a $2,000 sign-on bond through the jail. Position 15, reset further notice, a $1,500 sign-on bond through pretrial. Position 16, reset SAP March 29th, a $2,000 good bond.
Questions or concerns? Okay, if not, I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Have a good evening, everybody.